Hello, fellow trailblazers. Welcome to another episode of Escapes and Money Adventures with TK. Now, January is regarded as Financial Well-Being or Financial Wellness Month. And for me, I decided as a continuation of the Men, Money and Relationship series to continue having a conversation because I'm realizing that financial well-being, particularly for men, remains a problem. And this was further amplified with the COVID-19 pandemic, where a lot of males in this particular context lost their income and their earning opportunities. So to have the conversation today from a financial planning perspective, I have a dear friend of mine and colleague. We've done a lot of work together in terms of personal finance and financial education. I get to speak to Mr Mapena, who will introduce himself in a short bit. And without wasting any more time, on Escapes and Money Adventures. Money Adventures with TK.
Yeah.
So before we start the conversation, tell us who you are and what you want the viewer to know about who you are as Tate Thabang Mapena.
I don't know where to start, man. Thabang Mapena. I'm all over the place. But the thing is, I've studied financial planning law, and then I did. My first degree was become accounting, and then I did financial planning law. And currently, I'm working at Metropolitan. I'm selling insurance there. I lead an indirect distribution channel there. Your brokers, I think Lesotho has around 50 brokers. So we have 33 on our portfolio.
Okay.
So we're actually driving individual insurance products via that channel. Besides that, I'm a lover of life. I am a beginner saxophonist, I've also done some stand-up comedy, and I'm a blogger. I have a column on Public Eye. I write about chess. I'm also a chess player, of course. But then that's me.
A man of many talents.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned that you've studied financial planning law and you did a bit of accounting as well. But you're currently pursuing your master's in business administration.
Yeah, I'm doing my... I didn't want to say this. I'm doing my MBA with VET. Started last year. And then probably I'll be done next year, February 2023.
Okay.
I'm in my second year now.
All right. Yeah. So maybe talk us through why you are so passionate about financial wellness or financial education or finances in general. So
I don't want to be philosophical about it, but then I think, when you are growing up and you see things, and then everything just started eating up when you grow up. So when I was young, you'd find that Motsengwaka, there used to be a lot of mine workers there. So around 1998, 99, 2000, 2001, so a lot of them came home. I think the mineral were drying up in South Africa, so they were Pongol. So I noticed a lot of things when they came home. They would invest in businesses that they didn't know anything about, and you find that those businesses would last 2 or 3 years, and then they were now like everyone else. So those things started piling up, and then got to high school, and funny enough, we used to get these newspaper things, and then we use them as toilet paper.
Yes.
So I used to get the back pages, the index, so you'd see the financial performance, your stock exchange, and a whole lot of things there. And then I thought that was accounting. Then I was flying in accounting, and I went to my first degree, and then pursued a become accounting degree. But then some concept came. They taught us there were 2 courses that we did, economics, micro. So then they discussed the concept of scarcity. So that means that everything is scarce. So I needed to understand that concept of scarcity, and I said, okay, this is what happened back then with this mine workers. This is what is happening now. So probably need to focus our energy on getting something out of these scarce resources that we have. So that drove my financial planning passion.
Oh, wow. Okay. So now let's bring it closer to where we are now in 2022, where a lot of people have the COVID pandemic started in around about 2019. But a lot of people don't have a relationship with their money, and financial planning in the Lesotho context remains somewhat non-existent. And you've been doing a lot of work in terms of personal finance and financial education. What are your views about financial planning in Lesotho at this point in time?
I think what is happening currently, which is very commendable, is that there's a lot of independent people that are coming up trying to teach people about money. But what happened was that we don't have an industry of financial planning in Lesotho. most of financial planning that is done by financial services institutions, your banks, your insurance companies. So it sort of removed the independence of financial planning and financial advice.
Yeah.
So because we don't have that industry, I think we are still at an infancy stage. But like I'm saying, I've seen a lot of people that are coming up. You are an independent financial advisor. You are doing things, and you're not channeled by any service provider or any person. So I think we're still at infancy stage, and we lack that independence. And also we do have that financial planning, like I'm saying, but it's owned by the services. So for me, I think we need an independent body that would govern and make sure that there are financial advisors who are not tied to any insurer, so that we give good advice, not commission-led commission-led advice. Yeah, because I think that is the main thing. I know that across all these financial institutions, there are people who actually know how to give advice and who are qualified. But because they are hired and employed by those people, they obviously would wink and give you the products of their bosses. Yeah.
So for me, part of the reason we're having this conversation is I'm realizing that men specifically are going through difficult times. You would have financial webinars, financial seminars that are happening, and the people who are in attendance many a time are female. So I'm realizing that men are going through a lot of financial stress, but they aren't talking about the stress that are happening. So what in your views is influencing men to not talk about their finances and their problems in general?
So we don't want formal setups as men. We don't want to talk about things that would expose us. You know, if you get a text from your whatever significant other, they say, "Babe, we need to talk." They'll be start shivering. So whenever things start to get serious or things that we think they'll expose us, we tend to shy away from it. So I think we, as men, from our factory settings, we're told that we need to provide for everyone. Yeah, it's there from your infancy. You need to have enough so that you provide for your loved ones or for even So I think that is the first pressure. So as you grow up, it goes in your mind. I have to have money, and this money has to be enough for me, enough for my significant other, and enough for things that I would have dreamt to have when I was young. So that thing in itself, it piles up pressure. So you don't want to talk about it because you will see where you run short. It's a phenomenal. That's why us as men, we don't even use mirrors, man. Because anything that one, because you'd be literally looking at yourself and seeing all your blemishes. So that is the case. It's the pressure that we as black men grew up with, and then the fact that when we talk about it now, it sort of exposes our underbelly. We don't want to be exposed.
And I love the fact how we don't want to be exposed, because we did grow up in that and crying, that kind of setup, you know. But what we're seeing is more men are committing suicide, more men are being depressed, diagnosed with depression, more men are literally losing the plot simply because they're not able to talk about that. And for me to contribute to changing the narrative, especially from a financial planning perspective, what can we do as men in terms of our finances, where you feel I'm under pressure and I'm not able to provide like I am supposed to do? So what are some of your tips from a financial planning perspective to say that this is what you can do as a strategy to get your finances and your mental and all other pillars of your life in check?
I think one of the best things, 80% of people that are sitting and drinking beer, they're discussing things lightly. We enjoy sharing knowledge with our boys. And if you are to eavesdrop those conversations, you'd find that there's good amount of knowledge that is shared. And the only thing that happens there is that it's not in a serious setup. So I think as men, we need to discuss these things loosely. The fact that I don't have money, how to budget, all these conversations that we have at Mkukumwa, you know, when we're blooming, we need to start discussing this financial planning issue, finances issue. That's the first thing that we need to. I don't want to say lower it to that level, but we need to really lower it to that level. Have day-to-day conversations about money and mock each other around money. Like, we should be sitting here and saying, I'm not doing so you don't have a budget. How budget taking out here? So that it gets to a level where
the comedial side of
things.
Yes,
I think that's what we learn a lot of things as men from those comedial setups. Yeah, but there in the so what do you need to do as men actually for us to be financially savvy? I think the first thing, because we do have that pressure, we have to provide. First, you need to have a plan. You need to have a dream and a plan. So, and then you need to attach some money to that plan of yours. So, because you can't live as a man without a goal or any dream. And the other thing that we don't do is we don't write these things down, because they say that if you have a dream and you don't write it down, it's just a dream. It's just So you need to just have a solid plan and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want for my life, and put it down. And now start putting money to that thing. After you put money, then you'll start now doing your savings on it. Then you'll save. And the other thing is that basic thing, we need to spend less than we make. And this is, I know that the pressure is there. You need to look, in that, this is difficult. As a guy, you need to look good. After you look good, then you need to get your significant other. She needs to look good for you.
Yeah.
And then you need to marry her.
Yes.
And then after you marry her, you need to provide for her. For her and your little
your children.
Your children. So it's that, and then from that you need to have a house. So it's sort of a build up. So it's the savings part, and then the second part is for you to spend less than you make. I think the other one is every debt, man. Every debt is expensive. So you need to be wise on how you're dealing with debt. So plan your debt wisely. Don't be getting into debt on non-significant things. And yeah. And the fourth one, I think all you need to do is to start investing. So if you have a goal, saving, you can say, but start investing, and this investment thing should be automated for yourself. I think, because that's the other thing. When you see money and you see it's here, we tend to overspend on, So I think if you do the investing portion of it, and then you automate that investment, I think those are the four things that I think as men we can thrive.
I think I love what you said earlier on about using comedy, because we joke around things, but we actually have serious conversations. So in cases where, how do I put this? In cases where there's pressure amongst each other as guys, how then do we, financial pressure at that, how do we navigate that? So I see you buying a car, your wife, a new hair, she's looking good, you're looking good, and I feel like I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough as men, and that pressure starts to affect me and my relationship. How do I navigate that? I
think the main thing is that you need to know, man. You need to know yourself. You need to be honest with yourself. And I think that's the other thing. You'd find that we're not really honest with ourselves. I want to copy your life and align my spending with yours. And I don't even know where your source of funds or where you're getting money from. You might even have a sponsor, who knows? Yeah. So I think the main thing for us, man, is yes, we have this pressure, but you need to know you and know that this is me and this is how much you can afford. But it's very difficult, because now, remember, we all want one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all want one thing. We obviously, even when you're not married, you want to get people to notice you.
And status.
Status. Yes. It gets very difficult for you. But I think that moment where you sit and where you're putting your head on the bed, try to analyze you and things that make you. And all these things that we are worried about, when we turn 50, those things will not matter anymore. I mean, the shoes that you wear, you put on, the phones. I remember I bought my first phone, it was 2.3, 2003, and I didn't have a 2300 phone. Samsung D600. Yeah. And it was pressure Magita.
Yeah.
But you find that 10 years from now, it was a ridiculous spending.
Amount, yeah.
So all the things that you worried about, labels and things, and what people think about you, or what, it's not really important. So the first main thing is for you to know you and actually know what matters to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think in closing, before we just get to where people find you, the one last question I want to ask you is, in relationships, either a marriage or whether you're dating or preparing to get married, how do we have the money conversation with the significant other? Yeah,
I think in all honesty, remember the first question you asked was, us as men, why are we not that comfortable having this kind of conversation? It's still difficult, that side. But I think you need to be honest with your significant other. You need to bring all your cards to the table and say, this is me, and this is all I have. And then you start following the financial planning process, knowing our goals, and then putting money away for our goals, and then protecting ourselves against any risk. I think, and that thing, it should be the basis, should be the foundation of your relationship. And the earlier you do it with your girlfriend or your wife, the better. Because once you start having money and you haven't had the conversations earlier, you go with the flow. You go with the flow, you end up 10 years and you haven't gotten yourself good things with your wife. But I think conversations should start, and it's a difficult thing. But I think when you go to actually the first thing you do before you get married, you go to a marital counselor. So I think it should start there. Before you even tie the knot, go to a marital counselor, but go to a financial plan as well. Because, we make mistakes. There's a lot of mistakes that people make when they get into this thing. Let's talk marriage regimes. People need to know all the marriage regimes. You need to know the community of property thing, anti-nuptial, so that be aware of them and the implications to your finances. So I think, yes, when you are still boyfriend and girlfriend, have those conversations lightly, put your cards on the table, all of them. But when you're about to get into a serious marriage thing, it's a marriage counselor and a financial planner, so that both of you know all the
page. Yeah. And then just in closing, if people want to connect with you and have a conversation with you, where do they find you?
I don't want to talk about my employers, but I think should I share my number or something?
No, don't share your number. But you can share your social media platforms.
Yeah, because I'm on Twitter. It's at Thabang_Mapena. I'm also on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I use it to write things about financial planning things. Yeah. Comedy outs. I use humor a lot on that. I'm on Facebook. That's me. But also remember we have a TV show.
We have a TV show.
We have a TV show, the segment that we co-host and co-produce with you. So people can get me on those platforms.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Thabang Mapena. He is available on social media platforms, which I will link in the description box below if you want to get in touch with him. And of course, we do have a monthly personal finance segment on the national TV, LTV. Time is so in the mornings every last Friday of the month, where either him or myself will show up. And again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Remember to leave a comment and let us know, particularly for the guys, let us know what your relationship with your money is and your relationship with your significant other is. And if you are going through any mental health issues, please speak to a qualified psychologist. And if you're looking for financial advice, also speak to a financial planner. Quick disclaimer, this does not constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, however, please consult one that is registered and qualified. He is one of them. I am one of them, but I consider myself a financial coach. But that's a story for another day. So until the next video, I love, peace, and money. Cheers, guys.